Hello again and welcome. This is going to be a short video in response to the last video I made. I'd like to spend some time going over some of your comments. A viewer by the name of Slavoy writes, I got mine a few days ago and it doesn't have this issue. Just update the firmware and it should solve the problem. So I responded that it was shipped with the latest firmware. Of course I didn't show that during that video. Another person by the name of Jube writes in, not so sure about that because mine was also fixed after upgrading. Another person by the name of Tautech writes in, try updating. Watching intently, and if updating fixes these encoder issues, we have some more ammo to drop on their laps. So down here, Chris G writes in, the rotary encoder probably isn't the best quality, but this seems more like poor software and debounce algorithms. Steel Cuts writes in, exactly my thoughts. The thing is, if you only use new encoders while designing the software, then you really only cover one specific newish condition. Yeah, that's true. As they wear out over time, the bounciness changes quite a bit. Yep, they get noisier. This is probably the reason everybody's pointing fingers at the cheap ones. Slavoy responds again, it is the firmware issue. There was an update on Siglent's site that solves this problem since 2020. Viewer by the name of Job posted that he wasn't so sure that this had the latest firmware in it. So the first thing we'll do is have a look at what the menu shows. Again, this is the Siglent SDG1032. It's the Easy Pulse. So we go under Utility and we do System. Maybe page 2, system info. Alright, so software version 1.01.01.33R1B6. This is looking at their website, and we can see this is the latest version 1.01.33R1B6. Release date 2/21/20. A few of you had asked about the beep. If we just go to utility again and maybe page 2, right, so right here where it says beeper on, we can turn it off, and now as I rotate the knob you can see it doesn't beep. So let's go back to the waveform menu. If I can get the camera to focus, and I'm just going to go ahead and rotate the knob again, and we can see it's still bouncing up and down. So whether the beeper is enabled or not, that has no effect. Again, if I rotate the knob slowly, and the camera will focus. Come on. See, it works fine. But again, as I start to rotate it at the speed I would normally do it at, you can see there's a major problem with this. Yeah, I would expect this is a hardware problem. When they probably changed the firmware the last time, they had a better series of encoders, or maybe they view this as being acceptable. So unfortunately, when you go under Utility and we go to System and then we go to Firmware Update, so you can do a browse, you can do a recall, a delete, new folder, rename, and return. What I'm not seeing is a way to archive the original firmware that's been uploaded to this. So unfortunately, if this person's correct and the firmware that's in here is some oddball, we're going to lose that evidence. This is like being on a murder investigation, and first thing we're going to do is dispose of the body, and then we're going to try to solve the crime. Alright, so this flash drive, I've got the latest stuff installed. So we select browse, I'm assuming. And it reads nothing. Please select a valid firmware file. I would, but... Huh. What the heck? So, utility, system, firmware update, browse. Well, that's nice. So it can't read my flash disk. Nice, nice. Obviously I can read this with my desktop PC, but I can't read it with the Siglent. I actually grabbed this older one thinking that it would be more compatible with this. Let me grab a newer one. Alright, so this is my third key that I'm trying with this. Again, all these have been readable by my PC. Oh, here we go. Here's our firmware. Again, the same version that the unit has installed right now. We'll go down and let's hit recall. And now we wait. And wait. Jeez, Pete, come on, boot. Oh. Looks like it reset again. Come on. Oh, alright, we're back in business. So again, let's go to utility and we'll select system and we'll go to page 2 and we'll select the system info. Should say the same thing. Alright, so 1.01, 0.01, 0.33R1 B6, same version. Wouldn't expect there to be any difference. And let's go back to waveform and then we'll select parameter and frequency's fine. We'll just move this over a digit and let's see if this has improved anything after the camera decides it's going to focus. There we go. Absolutely no difference whatsoever. Again, just a piece of shit. Again, it's very possible that Siglent feels that this is acceptable. As a customer who's used a lot of higher end equipment, this is pretty much crap. And look at that thing. We'll rotate it the other direction. Nice, just nice. So I'm going to say this unit was shipped with the latest firmware and it doesn't resolve the problem. Again, it's just poor quality, but I think this thing cost us like 300 bucks or something. Yeah, and again, I haven't looked at any of the other features of this Arb, so I'm not really sure how well it performs. Just the fact that this encoder works the way it does, I would say would be a deal breaker.